The Obelisk calculated 192 failed civilizations. The human whispered, "Try 9,000. The Obelisk had stood at the edge of the galaxy for 3 million years, a monument to cosmic certainty. Its surface, darker than the void between stars, bore no marks, no seams, no indication of its origin. It simply existed, waiting. Dr. Sarah Chen's shuttle descended toward the artifact's designated approach vector, her hands steady on the controls despite the weight of what she carried. Behind her, representatives of 43 alien species watched in silence. They had all tried. They had all failed. The Obelisk permits only one attempt per species. Ambassador Vrixtel clicked through his translator, his crystalline form refracting the distant starlight. 8,192 civilizations have presented themselves. 8,192 have been found wanting. Sarah didn't respond. She had read the reports, studied every recorded attempt. The Obelisk posed a test, not of strength, not of technology, but of something else. Something that had eluded every species that had evolved to sentience in this corner of the universe. The Catherine had brought their mastery of quantum. Mathematics failed. The eldest minds had offered their 30-million-year-old. Philosophy failed. The Hive Collective had presented the unified consciousness of 17 billion souls. Failed. All had approached the Obelisk with their greatest achievements, their proudest accomplishments, their most profound wisdom. All had been rejected within moments, their shuttles gently pushed back by invisible forces, a single word appearing in their minds: insufficient. Sarah's shuttle touched down on the obsidian platform. The moment her boots made contact with the surface, she felt it, a presence vast and analytical, turning its attention toward her like a microscope focusing on a single cell. The voice that filled her mind was not a voice at all, but pure information, translated into something her brain could process. Species 8093, state your offering. Sarah had brought nothing. No quantum computers, no ancient texts, no collective consciousness. She carried only a small data drive, clutched in her gloved hand. I bring you our history, she said aloud, her voice steady. History is not unique. 6 out of 847 species have offered historical records. Not like ours, Sarah replied. She held up the drive. You've seen civilizations that succeeded. Species that evolved without major extinction events, that developed in harmony, that reached the stars through cooperation and logic. Correct. Such species comprise 91.3% of galactic civilization. Humanity didn't do that. Sarah's jaw tightened. We nearly destroyed ourselves 47 times. Nuclear weapons, biowarfare, climate collapse, artificial intelligence gone rogue. 3 separate occasions where we came within hours of extinction. The Obelisk was silent, but Sarah felt its attention intensify. We've committed genocides. We've enslaved our own kind. We've destroyed ecosystems for profit and burned our own planet for convenience. We've done terrible, unforgivable things. Behind her, she heard Ambassador Vrixtal's translator click nervously. This was not how species approached the Obelisk. They brought their best, their brightest, their most noble achievements, Sarah continued. But here's what makes us different. We survived. Not because we were wise, we were idiots. Not because we were strong, we were fragile. We survived because every time we fell, we got back up. Every time we failed, we learned. Every time we were certain we would destroy ourselves, someone, somewhere, refused to let it happen. She activated the data drive. Images flooded outward, projecting into the space around her. The bombing of Hiroshima, followed by decades of nuclear restraint. The near miss of the Cuban Missile Crisis and the hotline installed after. The ozone layer crisis, solved by unprecedented global cooperation. The AI wars, ended by programmers who chose to die rather than let their creations harm humanity. You offer failure as your achievement? No, Sarah said firmly. I offer survival despite failure. I offer stubbornness. I offer the refusal to quit even when quitting makes sense. She pulled up more images. Human aid workers in war zones, scientists sharing research freely. The Ark Initiative, where humanity had hidden genetic samples of every species on Earth in deep space, just in case they failed and needed to start over. Every species you've tested came to you with their success story. They showed you what they built, what they achieved, how they conquered their challenges. Sarah's voice grew stronger. But you already know success. This obelisk, you built it after your own civilization failed, didn't you? The silence that followed was profound. Even the ambient hum of her suit seemed to vanish. How did you deduce this? Because a successful species doesn't build a monument to test others. A successful species that failed builds one to find someone who won't. Sarah stepped closer to the obelisk. You failed. Maybe you destroyed yourselves. Maybe you evolved beyond physical form and regretted it. Maybe you just ended. But you left this test, hoping to find a species that knows how to fail and survive. She placed her hand on the obelisk's surface. We're not wise. We're not noble. Half the galaxy thinks we're insane for the risks we take, the wars we fight among ourselves, the way we treat our own planet. But we're still here, and we'll still be here tomorrow and the day after, no matter how many times we knock ourselves down. The obelisk pulsed once, a deep thrumming that resonated through Sarah's bones. HFY 92 civilizations have failed this test. Your species may proceed. Proceed where? Sarah asked. To fail, to survive, to endure. That is the test. There is no destination, only the journey. Go. Continue your imperfect, stubborn existence. In 3 million years, if you still persist, return. The presence withdrew. Sarah stood alone on the platform, hand still pressed against the cool surface of the obelisk. Behind her, 43 species watched in stunned silence as the human turned, walked back to her shuttle and departed, having passed a test that none of them had understood. The obelisk had not wanted perfection. It had wanted perseverance. And humanity, stumbling and falling and rising again, had that in abundance.